You can't pay no. This is just it shows very well. Same thing. Very sad to me, really. Heaven is the furthest thought from my mind. Testing 1, 2. All right, I have volume. I have sound. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Check one. There you go. Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you, Steve. Babe, that'll be right here. Thank you very much. All right. All right, we'll get started here this bright and beautiful summer morning. As you can see, the books are here. Trip to Heaven, just $10. Pretty good deal. Thank you for those of you that were interested in purchasing it and for being in class today. Thank you for coming and looking forward to the class. I want to thank Ed, but Ed is not here for teaching class last week while I was out preaching, and appreciate him doing that very much. Hope everybody's staying cool inside, warm. I preached that back to my old congregation of Tunica. Yeah, it's down at Tunica with them this weekend. They asked me to come down from time to time, still to go back and visit with folks that we love and care for. They don't have a full-time man now. They have different preachers come in and preach for them. So it's good to be with them. All right, so we're going to be looking at an important class today, I think. It's one that hits us all. There's nobody here whose toes I won't step on today, and every one of us here, including myself, will be squirming in your seats because of what we know to be to be true here. Passing the other one here. Here we go. Please sign in if you want to go to heaven. We're taking names. Bus will be leaving in the morning. Don't be late. So I asked Wednesday. I said to preacher, said you could just leave that board up because I could actually use it. This is as technical as I get. I don't do PowerPoint, so we've got the board up this morning a little bit to help get me started. I want to begin here by, let's see, where do I want to start here today? I want to begin here in reading from 1 Timothy chapter 6. Just beginning at verse 6. 1 Timothy 6, verse 6. But godliness actually is a means of great gain when accompanied by contentment. For we brought nothing into this world, and we cannot take anything out of it either. But if we have food and covering or raiment, with these we shall be content. But those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a snare, and many foolish and harmful desires, which plunge men into ruin and destruction. For those who want to get rich. That's everybody in this room, as far as I know. That's why you get up and go to work in the morning, isn't it? Why we save money. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil, and some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But flee these things, you man of God, and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal life to which you were called, and you made the good confession in the presence of many, many witnesses. Godliness with contentment is great gain. I want to think a little bit this morning first about the word desire. We all desire things. Desire is, I guess, a natural element of the human body. We all desire things. We desire things to eat. We desire things to make our life more pleasant. We like to do desirable things, whether it's going on vacation down on the beach or whether it's playing around at golf, which I have strong desires for, whether it is going shopping, ladies, whether it's buying a new this or that, or just getting on Amazon during July 4th days. Anybody do that? Why? Because we desire things. We get on Amazon and look. We may not know of anything we want, but we're just going to look and see if there's something there that I might want. So desire is something that fills our lives tremendously in a tremendous way. We desire creature comforts in this in America where we live. Creature comforts. We have refrigerators and ovens and microwave ovens in our homes. I tell you, several years ago when I was preaching in Rome, Georgia, Kathy had gone away to her mom and dad's, and I thought I'd be a really nice husband. I would do something nice when she came home, and so I bought our very first microwave oven, very first one. And I put it on the kitchen counter and had it plugged in there. So Kathy got home, she walked in, she looked at, oh, you got me a new TV. Also one year for Christmas, I got her a garbage disposal. I thought that's something that we all like to have. It was kind of a new item back then, not everybody had garbage disposal. I thought that'll make her life so much easier, and she hasn't forgiven me of that yet. So it's just kind of the way that it is. But we all have those creature comforts that we want, from recliners to swimming pool, a microwave ovens, as I mentioned, our large screen TVs. I'll tell you how big mine is. You can tell me how big yours is. We all desire that. Nobody's still watching a 21-inch TV anymore. We desire those things in life. And whatever our material desires are, in this country, we are taught to feed your desires. Makes for a good economy. Feed your desires, whatever that they may be. But how many of us feed our spiritual desires? They're there. Maybe way down deep in there, you have a desire for spiritual things. You go through any culture and study about any culture that ever existed, and you find they had a desire to worship something. So there is that desire, but how many of us are feeding that desire for our spiritual life, for spiritual things of the Spirit? How many of us are content with our standard of living? Now, maybe in this audience that might be truer than most, but if there's a group of young people meeting somewhere, young marrieds, they are not content with their standard of living, are they? We shouldn't be content with our spiritual life, but always desiring to improve upon it, to grow closer to God each and every moment that we can. See, here's the thing. In this country, we view our life here with too much permanence. We think this is the whole ball of wax right here. One who has the most toy wins at the end, you know. This is what life is all about. This is the whole ball of wax right here. And we got to, get all the gusto we can. This is it. We view our life here with too much permanence when it is really so temporary. What is your life? It is but a vapor. Appears for a little time, vanishes away. Job said, man is born of woman, is full of trouble, and then passes away. It's pretty well what life is. Just here for a moment, it's gone. And most people in this audience, we know how fast life has gone by. I find myself thinking about things when I was a boy. Was I a boy once? We think of a few of the college days. We were all young once, but we turn around and what happened? Okay. This life is fleeting. It's fast. We view this life with way too much permanence. Jesus taught us then that we needed to adjust our value system. Jesus' teachings constantly was about adjusting the things that we truly value. Now, this is his passage here on Matthew 6. I'll just read this here for you. Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven where moth and rust does not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. Then he made this tremendous point. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So we all have things that we treasure. But where is the emphasis? Either on heaven or on earth. Here on earth, those things will rust and disappear. That car that you're driving now is going to be in the trash dump somewhere, crushed into just a piece of hunk of metal. The home that you live in is going to be gone in 100 years. You'll be gone too, but in 100 years your home is probably going to be gone. Things just, do not last. We think of the hurricanes and the tornadoes and all these storms we're seeing, just horrifying. events in out in Kernville, Texas, with the floods. The horrifying thing about it is not all the loss of houses and property and stuff. It's nothing, is it? It's the loss of life. It's the loss of life that can be gone in just a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. We just view this life with too much permanence, and it just doesn't happen. If we have food and raiment, let us be content. That's very hard, very, very hard for us to do. I would hope if a tornado came and just wiped away my house and some TV5 anchor came in and said, well, how do you feel about it? I hope I would say, well, I was going to have a big yard sale anyway. Because these things are not that important. They're just things. And yet they are things that we stock so much of our life in and deal with. The sad truth is that the less things that we have in this world, the more we desire heaven, the more we have a spiritual life. It's hard to reach that CEO making millions a year, living in a great mansion with every kind of luxury on earth. It's hard to reach that person with the gospel. It's hard for that person to have a strong spiritual desire for heaven, because he's got it here on earth. These celebrities in Hollywood, they're not thinking about the world to come. They're thinking about how they can stay in the spotlight. It's all about the here and the now, and what this world can offer, or what this world brings. But it'll be gone in a flash. Everything that we have here in this life, it's not going to last very long. Jesus said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And all of us are rich men and women. You say, well, I don't think that I'm rich. Well, just go to Guatemala. Go to India. Just go to Malaysia. Why does everybody want to come to this country? Because they think we're all rich here, and we are. We're all blessed abundantly. And therein is the issue, the problem that we face. Because we live in the most materialistic nation that's ever existed. And how do you develop spiritual values, and how do you long for heaven, and where do you put your emphasis on heaven instead upon the treasures on earth? This is a hard thing for us to do, and yet, thankfully, many of us are able to do that. So, desire. It's not the money, it's the love of money. I said I preached in Tunica for 14 years. I can talk about what the love of money does to people. They're not down there just for a good time. They're down there trying to hit that jackpot. And they will spend every last dime they've got to try to do it. It's all about desire. Not the paycheck, but the emphasis that society puts on that paycheck, and what we do with that paycheck, and how we use that thing. So the desire for spiritual things among all this materialism that we have is very hard to do. We've got a real balancing act here, because we've got our nation pulling us one way, and then we've got our soul, our spirit, trying to pull us the other way. And it's a real conflict that we are dealing in. We just don't know how totally blessed we are. I went through Mission 1000. It was a 3-month program at Highland Street offered. And Larry McKenzie was a great teacher and a great prayer warrior. I got to class late one day, and I said, "What happened, Larry?" I said, "Well, Larry, I had a flat tire. I had to change my tire. So I'm late." He said, "Well, did you thank God for that flat tire?" Larry believes that in prayer, it's not about thanking God for what we have, but thanking God for what all He's done for us. Being thankful to God is what prayer is. He said, you need to be thankful. Aren't you glad you had a car to have a flat tire? Most people in this world don't have to worry about flat tires. They don't have cars. We just are blessed in so many ways. It's hard for us to truly understand it. Here's how it works. I said I'm about to make all of us kind of uneasy in our chair today. Tell me if I'm off now. Anybody just, if I'm stretching it here, just let me know. We get married, we don't have much. We might have got a shower or two. First time Kathy and I moved from her hometown, went to preach in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. We rented the smallest U-Haul truck we had, and we had a couple boxes of dishes and a toaster that we got for shower. And her mother had given us a rocking chair, and that's what we moved in. The last time when we moved up here, it took us a month hauling stuff about every day up here, one truckload after the other. We start off with very little, and then we just consume. At one time, our little closets were just fine, but now we need a large walk-in closet. And when our furniture and stuff our house gets full of that, we start moving stuff out into the garage. Pretty soon you can't get both cars in the garage anymore. The garage is turned, and then pretty soon you can't get any car in the garage, and it keeps going because we got stuff that we don't want to get rid of, and so we just keep holding on to that stuff, and we keep spending a lot of our time managing that stuff, moving it from here to there. A lot of times. So the garage gets full, and so what do? We decide to cut back? No, we go rent a storage building. And we pay that storage building for years, full of stuff that we can't even remember what's in there anymore. And eventually, after we die, they come back and auction that storage unit off, sight unseen. Isn't that our life? Isn't that really our life? That we just spend managing stuff? Yeah, it is. You raising your hand agreeing back there or what? Oh. Well, that's true. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. It's just the way that our lives are. I'll share this. Kathy will kill me for this, but our garage has a tornado shelter in it. It does. Nice. It's built in. The previous owner had his tornado shelter in there. And that's where we store all of Kathy's Christmas decorations, are in the tornado shelter. So if we are blown away, our kids will still have a Merry Christmas, because all that will be safe. It's safe in the tornado shelter. So that's the way our life. It's just so full of things, and we look at that. But here's the sad thing: we don't own them. The stuff owns us. It's what takes our time, our energy, moving, taking care of, rebuilding, getting rid of this to buy something better to replace it. That's what life, what it is. But so it's more of that feeling of the material owning us. When Abraham left his father's house and he began looking for that promised land, we're told he lived in tents. And he looked for a city whose builder and maker was God. We've been watching in the evening this movie called The Bible. It's an older movie, but it kind of hits all the main points of Scripture. It's done fairly well. Kind of sort of following Scriptures, but it had Abraham and Sarah there, and she's coming out of her tent. And Kathy said, well, that looks like a pretty nice tent. And I'm sure they lived in pretty nice tents, but it was a tent. These Bedouins, gypsies, they do what? Glam camping. Their tents are pretty nice, but they're just tents. He looked for a city whose builder and maker was God. He wanted a better place, a superior place whose builder and maker was God. Now, take, though, if you would, Abraham is looking there in this nice tent that he has, but Abraham's sitting next to that, this beautiful city with pearly gates and streets of gold, and which one would you rather have? We look at all of the wonderful homes we live in, all of the luxuries we enjoy, all of the comforts of life. We live our whole life in a temperature-controlled environment. But then look at the city four square, whose builder and maker is God. Wherein is the throne of God. And oh, by the way, there's your mother and your father and your grandpa. Where would you rather be? Which city are you really wanting to be in? And that's the desire that we have to do. The hardest thing to do is to build that desire, where our desire for heaven, to have our treasure here rather than here, that desire to really put our minds thinking upon heaven and spiritual things, is really the most important thing that we need to do in life. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I look out at this class and I'm not happy. You all are kind of advanced in years. I say I'm not happy because it's natural that we're reaching a state where heaven becomes more meaningful to us. I wish that a lot of the 20 and 30 somethings down the hall here were in here, so that they could begin building a desire for heaven, a desire to be with God, instead of what they're doing is building an affluent household. What they're doing is buying microwaves without thinking about spiritual things. This is where we all need to be as Christians, is building that desire to be in heaven. In 100 years from now, any memory of you is going to be gone. You're just going to be a tombstone with a name and a date on it. So what goes on in this life is not that important. Your home's going to be gone. How many homes in Memphis 100 years old. There are several. There are. But most of them are gone. My good friend and at Highland Street was Jim Kennan, and loved Jim. He and I played a lot of golf, and he loved my wife. And he said, Dennis, anytime you want to get rid of her, I'll take her. Jim was a great guy, and after I moved to Tunica, I just heard after his funeral he had passed away. Jim was a great friend, lifelong banker. Lived in kind of that area around the golf course there in Galloway. Beautiful ranch-style home. I mean, that just stretched out across a beautiful lot. It's this beautiful old 50s-style ranch home, big rooms and stuff. Was in it several times. So one day I was driving around, probably over at the golf course, and I thought I'm just going to go over and see Jim's old house and just see if they fixed it up or anything. It wasn't there. It was gone. Somebody had bought that lot, tore down that house, and built some big, beautiful $1 million place. Your house is going to be gone in 100 years. You're going to be just a memory on a gravestone. That's it. The only thing really important is where you're going to be in eternity. And you're going to get there by building that strong desire to go and to be with the Lord. Now, as the home we live in is just a tent, know also that your body is as well. Remember what Paul said in 2 Corinthians 5, we know that if the earthly tent we live in, our bodies, is destroyed, we have a building from God, eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. Meanwhile, we groan, longing to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling. Is that true? Are we longing to see what we're going to be like in heaven, what that soul's going to be like? We long for that eternal being, to what it's going to be like. So we long for that, to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling. Therefore, we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord. Being in this body you're in now is keeping you from the Lord, because you have these desires that you're constantly fighting. But when our soul is resurrected and that new body is given to us, we won't have any more of these earthly desires. These battles will be over. We will have won the victory, and we'll be forever enjoying the eternal life that we have. Everything in this world is temporal, and everything will be better over there on the other side. Everything, and that should be our longing. Years ago, I started, somehow got into it through a friend or something. I started selling Amway. Anybody here an Amway dealer? You sell Amway? Anybody here used to do that? I know I'm not the only one. Everybody started selling Amway. So I started selling Amway, all these soap products. And, it was a pyramid scheme. You sign up people to work for you and keep working your way up the ladder and stuff. I went to a big Amway convention, I think in Detroit. And the speaker there was talking about refrigerator motivation. Says, take something you want, like a new car or a new house or maybe a vacation, get a picture of that, and put it on your refrigerator where you'll see it every day. So that when you get up in the morning, you'll think, oh, I want to work hard so that I can have this today. That's my dream. I want to be motivated to get up so that I can have that new car someday. And they'd get somebody then come up out of the audience and they would tell about, yeah, we put the picture of this car up on the refrigerator and we worked hard, and then they'd hold up the keys and say, hey, we got it right outside. Man, that's exciting. Boy, that's great. We want to have that goal there. How many of us get that excited about going to heaven? How many of us have a picture of heaven on our refrigerator door. So it's important that what we surround ourselves with is what kind of owns our life. So we need to make sure that we surround ourselves around spiritual things, like coming to Sunday school class, studying our Bible, prayer time, Christian fellowship. These are the things that we need to fill our time with, rather than the things of this world that we have. Any questions, comments? Anybody want to? What we gaze upon, what we dream about, and what we surround ourselves with. These are the things that we want. Spiritual life is one of the most important things in life that we can develop. That longing for heaven. How strong is that desire? I want to tell you a little story. It's in the book. Mid-'80s, I was preaching for a church in Florence, Alabama. It's a large congregation, about 320 or 30. There was a sweet old lady there named Elsie Cummins. The church had a Joy Bus program before I got there. Any of y'all remember the Joy Buses? You know, everybody would come, drive a bus on Sunday morning, go around, pick up little children. Well, this congregation had a big Joy Bus program. Miss Delsey lived, congregation I preached for was about 5, 6, 7 miles from the Tennessee line. And so our Joy Bus went up into Tennessee a little ways, to a little town up there. Went through this little town and picked up several children. Well, Miss Delsey was in her 60s, but she decided she wanted to get on that bus. So she started coming to church on the Joy Bus, and eventually was converted and baptized. Let me tell you about Miss Delsey. Her home sat between the sawmill and the liquor store, a little town in rural Tennessee. In front of her house was a huge dirt road filled of great big ruts made by all those log trucks that constantly went back and forth in front of her house, stirring up the dust and stuff. When she and her husband married, they moved into this house. House was made maybe back in the 1920s. It was just an old wood frame, 2-bedroom house. Her husband worked hard. When they married, they moved into that house with his mom and dad, where she lived all of her life, in that old house. When they would get paid from the sawmill, her husband and his dad would go down to the liquor store, and that's where they spent most of their money. But now Miss Delsey had, she had nursed his mom and dad, nursed them until they both died. So Miss Delsey said, well, why don't you come up and visit me sometime and I'll make you some fried pies. Well, that's all that it took. So I drove up to find Miss Delsey's house. A little old, almost to the point of falling down, wood frame house that sat between the sawmill and the liquor store. Pulled in and parked in her dirt front yard. I did not knock on the door because there was no door there, no air conditioning. Hollered out for her. She came out from the kitchen, welcomed me. I could tell she was a little embarrassed, but she was glad that I came. Living room had a straight back chair and an old couch, and a little black and white TV set there. The walls, you know, the old house is real tall ceilings, and there's just bits and pieces of old wallpaper that had hung there in its better time. So I went back into her kitchen in the back of the house, and there sat a huge wood stove, one of the big iron wood stoves. Her kitchen floor swayed like that under the weight of that large wood stove. And in the heat of the summer, she had that wood stove cranked up, and she started making me those fried pies. Occasionally, she would walk out the back door, which there was no door there, down a step right to the back to get her water from a water faucet. She did not have running water. Those are the best fried pies I think I ever ate in my life. Something made on a wood stove, it's just naturally better, ladies. I'm sorry, it just is. And as we sat and I consumed as many of those pies as I could, she told me about her life and what a struggle it had been. They'd had one son who, in early adulthood, had died of cancer. She had a hard life, but she was happy, a happy little spirit. And you know, we didn't have the buses anymore, but somebody would drive the church van up and pick her up and a couple other people. So she was always in church. But just the sweetest spirit and disposition that you might ever imagine. One Monday afternoon, during the summer, the teenagers hosted a luncheon for all the senior citizens. The teenagers took care of getting all the food together. They decorated the fellowship hall, and they served all the elderly people that came. They just did this to honor all of their senior citizens, which was wonderful. And they said, well, we need somebody to go pick up Miss Delcy. I said, I'll go get Miss Delcy. So I drove the church bus up there, because those ruts in that road were really like this. Drove the church van up there, pulled up to Delcy's house. She was standing in the doorway in her very always clean and neat little dress and her little pearls. And I got in the van with me. And as we were driving and then back towards the church building, we were talking about this, that, and the other, and she was telling me how much she enjoyed coming to church and how much that had meant to her life, and it was just very sweet. And she said, we had a singing service that Sunday night. And they said, and she said, oh yeah, and I told Brother Jim, that was our song leader, Jim Patterson, said I told Jim, and he led my favorite song. I said, oh really, Miss Delcy? Yeah, she was so excited. He had led her favorite song. And I said, Miss Delcy, what song is that? And she said, heaven will surely be worth it all. So as we're driving down the highway, she looks out the window and she begins to recite from memory that song. Often I'm hindered on my way, burden so heavy I cannot fall. And I hear Jesus sweetly say, heaven will surely be worth it all. I felt like I was hearing the voice of an angel as she, almost dreaming, cited the second verse. Many the trials, toils, and tears. Many a heartache may here befall, but the dear Lord so sweetly says, heaven will surely be worth it all. And then finally, quoting from memory now, this sweet little lady, toiling in pain I will endure, till I shall hear the death angel call. Jesus has promised, and I'm sure, heaven is surely worth it all. Oh, that you and I could long for heaven like Delcy Cummings. We have it too easy here in this materialistic society, and so it's easy for us to not really concentrate too much on the hereafter, but well, this is what we need to be thinking about for sure, is having that desire, longing for heaven, not letting this stuff get control of our lives, but keeping things in perspectives and looking forward to the day that we're able to join Miss Delcy around that throne of God. Yeah. Well, I'll let you out just a little bit. I think I'm spent. Have books here. Appreciate those of you that bought them. Thank you for that, and we'll have you back here next Sunday. Thank you. That would be a good one. It would.
I think the other one's your brother.
You did.
Well, the woman that I
Yeah.
bought it for,
Oh,
the
okay.
woman I bought it for
Yeah.
passed away without kids, and I finished it.
Oh, neat.
I went ahead and I was going to give it to her, but she couldn't see her in.
Well, you want one? You just want one?
Yeah, for Larry and Kay Early.
He just took your money.
That's right. You ain't getting it back either. I'm laying this up in heaven.
Show me your socks, Carl.
Get one from her.
Okay. There you go. Let me get you some change here. I got a 10 in here. I think I got it. I know I had a 10. I know I did. Oh, there it is, right there.
How's our buddy? How's Tim doing?
He made it through surgery fine.
Okay, I hadn't heard anything. I tried to get on that website, couldn't do it.
I haven't tried.
Did
It's
you?
that kind of a thing.
But he's doing okay.
Doing okay.
Home already?
No.
Oh, he's not?
No, he's not home yet. No, he'll go do some rehab.